We're on.
What's up, you guys? I'm not Sean Ross Sapp. I'm running the show tonight because Sean Ross Sapp decided to go to Smackdown Live. I'm Jeff Hawkins, usual co-host, doing the hosting duties, which is a little bit different because that means I actually had to pay full attention to the show and not zone out during the conversation either. But joining me, as always, the queen of Fightful, the Audrey Hepburn of wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, Anna Bauer. How are you tonight, Anna?
Thank you. The Audrey Hepburn of wrestling. I like that.
I can be sweet occasionally. Not, it takes work, but occasionally. Now, what is this child support?
Yeah, is he going to pay up now?
Now?
Jeffrey.
I haven't even seen
husband. You have duties.
Well, I'm still waiting for this.
Paid, you see your kids.
I'm still waiting for this green card marriage to go through for the callback here. Anywho,
another Rumble's coming up.
a rather eventful, I thought, SmackDown in some ways. Starts off with a recap of Shane, Daniel Bryan, and KO and Sammy from last week. And then Shane comes out to start the show and address why Daniel Bryan didn't fire the two. KO and Sammy lack, quote-unquote, respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-K, for the office and fans. Daniel Bryan comes out looking rather fit, I thought, shakes Shane's hands. The two smile and then eventually get into character. And Daniel Bryan says he understands why you'd want them fired, but he'd been fired himself, and he believes in second chances. Says Shane's temper got the better of him. Shane agrees. But Shane then brings up Kevin Owens being Vince, Sammy getting involved in Hell in the Cell, and how they both betrayed SmackDown during Survivor Series. Bryan says they did this out of competition and reaching for the brass ring. Always got to love that WWE speak on TV. And that if they fire them, they'll just end up on Raw. Shane seems fine with this. I thought Bryan was laying it on a bit thick about using talent and opportunity and all those other stuff, but Shane eventually applauds the decision to book KO and Orton in a no DQ match and adds that Sammy is barred from ringside and the match is now a no disqualification match. What did you think of this segment?
First of all, in the replays, they cut out KO's after him saying he's not going to fight Randy Orton. He eventually says, okay, I'll do it. They cut it from the replay. And that kind of set up the whole feel of this entire show, which I was confused last week about it. I'm still confused this week. They obviously in the back definitely see KO and Sami Zayn as the heels. To me and to a lot of people I've spoken to online, we don't quite see it like that. And it's kind of become SmackDown is the Kool-Aid show where these two guys are being brutally bullied week after week. And it kind of just, I don't know, I thought this whole section went a little too long. Daniel Bryan, I thought, actually came out wearing a turtleneck, which is apropos of nothing, but I thought that would have been a really nice, dad addition. And then Shane attempted to skank, and I wish he would never do that again.
I thought Daniel Bryan looked remarkably in shape.
He's
under
gearing
this
up
t-shirt. Yeah. And again, I thought they were laying it on a bit thick with Daniel Bryan's earnestness to the point where they're almost signaling heel turn. I'm hoping that it kind of tampers down just a little bit so that we can still get involved with this. I from an acting standpoint, as I put in the recap there, I had a bit of a problem with the two of them just corpsing before finally focusing and getting into character on camera live. That's a bit, I think they need to be kind of focused before they go into, well, it's kind of like, yeah, we're having fun. Now let's go into the terrible worded script right now.
There are times for it, and it kind of works sometimes when people in the ring do start laughing because it makes it more enjoyable for us. But this kind of a scenario where it's supposed to be a heated debate over two guys' careers and they're being fired, yeah, you kind of think you focus in a little bit on that. Maybe the Kool-Aid got too much. I don't know.
It's like, yeah, we're going to laugh at each other right now, but now we're going to get serious and have some tension between the two of ourselves. It's a weird dichotomy there. I forgot some of the plugs before we went on air. Join us over at Fightful.com, where you can read the forums and participate and read our articles. Alex Pawlowski doing a great job. Brian Rose doing a great job. Most Ridiculous with Anna Bauer. Once again, the Audrey Hepburn of wrestling.
It's not officially Fightful.
Oh, sorry. Anywho, going back to the rundown. You know, like I said, I'm flying blind here a bit. I wasn't expecting Sean Ross Sapp to go to the show. He just said, well, I might go to the show. And then it's like, oh, he's tweeting from the arena. I guess I'm on tonight. Sammy and Kevin run into Daniel Bryan backstage and try to reason with him. They say Orton is insane. Daniel Bryan says they're not the only ones trying to keep their jobs, and gives them a hearty hell no to their request for assistance. I thought this might be foreshadowing a Kane appearance for some reason, but it turned out just to kind of be an Easter egg for people who knew Daniel Bryan.
Didn't we have enough Kane yesterday?
No, we trust me. Yeah, but he's running for office, in Tennessee, even though they're in Kentucky tonight. You're in the region somehow. Maybe people traveled, press some palms, kiss some babies, things like that. We set up.
That's the Kane we got yesterday, I'd be all for
it. Kane slams taxes out of the city of Knoxville.
Razor the baby in the ring upon his victory.
I just want I want Braun to now stump for him. I think that'd be the best thing. Just Braun and his southern drawl, and I want you to vote for my friend Kane.
I'm the only monster, but you make a great mayor. I wish I had his voice.
Oh, I'm trying to do a bad impression of him. I just can't. The New Day versus Gable and Benjamin is up next. This version will be Kofi and Xavier, the speed duo, as they are called. The New Day are walking around backstage with pancakes. I thought this joke was just for the lumberjack match. I thought, oh, flapjacks, lumberjacks, ha. No, we're going to have pancakes. I think from now on as they come out. Maybe they're easier to pass out than Bootios. I don't know. But Gable and Benjamin themselves are studying a box of Bootios as if there's some sort of game plan on the back on how to beat the New Day there. The Usos are out to watch, and they also get pancakes from the New Day. Biggie inexplicably carries syrup in his singlet, and Saxton indulges as well, much to the chagrin of Corey. Good match here, I thought. The first opening sequence I thought was high energy, even though I thought that slingshot splash by Kofi on Gable was a little bit weird. Then we go to the double window of commercial where Anna can't watch the show. And during this time, Benjamin works over Gable with a headlock, and Benjamin works over Xavier with a headlock, my fault. And he and Gable then work over Xavier's left arm. Gable with a sweet somersault kick during this time. Uh-oh.
Oh, what's this?
Jeff!
Oh,
Anna!
yeah.
I'm up here! I'm up here, Anna!
It's
I'm
Jinder
up here,
Ross
Jeff.
Sapp, everybody.
This is actually worse than if Jinder came in.
Our roving
That's literally all I came to do. You guys have a good show.
Okay. No report live from the arena. Sean Ross Sapp with the run-in. That's the most phenomenal 15-second joke you'll ever get out of Sean Ross Sapp.
Our boss, ladies and gentlemen.
But there was a sweet somersault kick that you missed. Benjamin cuts off Xavier's comeback and goes back to work on the arm and the headlock as we come back. Xavier then gets his real comeback. Benjamin cuts him off with some vicious knees, I thought. And then an interesting double team as Benjamin gets Xavier up for a power bomb, but Gable comes off with a knee to the head. I thought that was interesting, at least. Xavier with a nice missile drop kick and tags in Kofi, who goes to work on Benjamin, gets a boom drop, and then gets cut off when trying to perform Trouble in Paradise. Ends up dumping both outside. Woods dives over the top, stuns Gable. Kofi and Woods didn't hit up, up, down, down for the pin. What do you make of that, Anna?
I thought there was some really cool team moves going, and I've said it, I think, on the Survivor Series podcast, the difference between guys that have... Oh, here we go.
Are you back?
Yeah, I couldn't help it, guys. I just couldn't help myself. I'm here in beautiful Lexington. Look at this tree behind me. It's magnificent. It's beautiful.
I'm hoping you're calling in for more than a tree.
Well, no, there's also a beautiful fountain you all can see in the back as well. Are you all able to see this?
I am. I don't know if I want to, but I am.
Yeah, I'm choosing.
How did the show come across on TV?
I thought personally it was a very fun show. The crowd seemed really into it. At some parts that actually surprised me, like the Bobby Roode promo.
Oh yeah, they wanted Bobby Roode. You know, there are times when we watch on TV and we're like, what's left in Randy Orton? Then you come and see live how people react to him, and you're like, oh, okay. In comparison to other people, that was a standout thing. Charlotte was maybe the most over person on this entire show. Holy crap, she was over every time they showed her. But Ruby Riott looked rough tonight in the ring. Oh yeah,
I thought she looked smoother than the other two during that match. But we haven't gotten to that yet. How did the Riott squad get over in terms of fan reaction? Not
well, but I mean, Naomi and Charlotte did the best they could. They almost killed Naomi on the barricade spot. That was horrifying. That was gross. But I guess, you know, I want to brag about my city a little more, but I guess I'll catch you all later. I just, you know, the show is my baby, and you all have it for the night, and you know.
I got us on air. I'm happy about that. Let's put that's a victory in its own right.
Hey, it's the little things. Also, I'm going to send you all scripts for a Fightful commercial we are doing. Be excited.
You get remarkably good reception for being in a crowded arena with lots of people.
Yeah, it's better from Australia.
I think this beautiful tree behind me doubles as a cell phone tower.
Is that the only tree in Kentucky that is worth decorating?
No, actually, we have decorated trees down that road right there.
Do you have plumbing yet? That'd be nice.
You live in the pollution capital of America. You can't breathe the air.
It's true.
You guys are dead to me. Red button.
Sean Ross Sapp, the owner and proprietor of Fightful.com. No word yet as to whether Anna and I will be replacing him on the list in Your Boy tomorrow. Probably not. Back to New Day versus Gable and Benjamin. I just thought it was weird to beat Benjamin this clean, or at least the team, if you're going to actually build a feud, but they may be building towards a three-way.
Yeah, this whole thing was, when they first announced it, it's the same thing that ties off from the Sammy and KO thing. Out the back, they honestly believe that those guys are heels. Last week, they finished the show with the New Day beating up Sammy in the ring after he won. Yeah, he won by distraction, but he won. And so today with these two teams, it's like you have the mega douches versus the bitter non-hyenas of the New Day. For those who don't get that reference, they wanted to be in The Lion King with the hyenas. And yeah, whatever. And like, it was a cool match, and there was some really awesome moves that they pulled out. But yeah, I don't really know. Their perspective on this is just so bizarre to me.
Do you think possibly that's really just kind of a feint on the part of the writers here, that they're trying to get us to think that the New Day and the Usos are friends, and then eventually the Usos are just going to attack them after 3 weeks of being out there and supporting them, and then it turns into kind of a three-way feud?
I don't know about that. I don't think, if they do that, I don't think it's going to have this much foresight to it.
Well, I just don't understand how you now go to Benjamin and Gable versus the Usos after beating them. I unless they're just going to bypass that story completely and then go on to maybe the Bludgeon brothers. I just don't. I can't connect the. I can't connect the dots here, because usually they're a little bit more obvious when they want to build up a match, and they wouldn't usually beat a contender this quickly. It's a little bit. it's a little bit confusing, but you know, there's still a couple weeks before Clash of Champions. It could all
It could just be more fuel for them to get more savage and more vicious and more douchey.
I seem to recall that they said on commentary that they had already earned a title shot. So maybe this just doesn't matter. Maybe this is just to imply weakness or, you know, something to that effect.
Yeah, I don't know if there's that much thought that went into this one. Except for the whole thing about the butt warm syrup from Big E to the Usos. Like it must be so handy being that size. You're like an automatic grill just walking around. Like if you get hungry, you just pull a snack out of your pants and then you're good to go. It's small. I don't have that luxury.
As a man who has struggled with his weight, I've had food in my pockets before for snacks. So all I can think of is the Ferris Bueller line. I have a gummy bear in my pocket. It's warm. Would you like it? So we go to a recap of Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan jumping Naomi and Becky from last week, and then attacking Charlotte and Natty during their match. Naomi and Charlotte have a stilted interaction in the locker room. Feel the glow. Charlotte's the queen. Natty interrupts. They tease dissension, but Natty preaches SmackDown unity tonight. They're going to show those girls what for. And Charlotte says, after tonight, no one's going to remember their names. This leads up to the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Hype Bros, a rematch demanded, I guess, by Zack Ryder. Harper punches Zack Ryder, Harper and Rowan, born again hardcore. They just absolutely kill these fools. They take out Mojo and end it quick with a double choke slam on Ryder. Dasha on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer. Dasha, the robot, interviews the Hype Bros after the loss. Ryder says they've hit rock bottom, that the landscape of the tag division has changed, and they're going to need to change it. Then Mojo interrupts and attacks Zack Ryder mid-promo and yells the Hype Bros are dead as he beats the crap out of Zack Ryder. Anna, I was not expecting out of the two of them for Mojo to be the one to turn heel.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's in line with me for WWE's way of thinking, because before Ryder came back from injury, they had this new sophisticated Mojo where he was developing as an adult. He was questioning his own actions, his party ways. And then Ryder came back and it went back to the bro territory, but not quite to the same extent. And then it's like the dude that was actually discovering himself in life turned heel.
Yeah, it's weird
sure.
Because I thought they were having Zack kind of grow out the beard and show a bit of an edge here, but I guess they just decided that the natural likability from before might come into play, or they just don't have anything for him after this. I could see this very well being Zack Ryder's last program with the company. He's been there for so long. But
I hope not.
But no, neither do I, because I really like Zack Ryder a lot. I think he's gotten the short end of the stick on a lot of deals, and after getting himself over on his own internet show and things of it like that. But Mojo had a natural likability to him that we saw on Talking Smack, on Train or Breaking Ground. They gave him the win at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because of his celebrity connections to
Gronkowski.
With Gronk. It just seems, I mean, look, I think Mojo can pull off psychotic. Don't get me wrong. I find it against their natural inclinations on everything here, because I thought Zack was doing a good job teasing heel, and I think Mojo's I don't know. I'll be interested to see how Mojo channels evil, because I think it looks like
I think this way is going to be so much more interesting than if they went for the obvious. I think Mojo has it in him to bring something unique to the table with this.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's something new, and it's a new breath of life into these guys. When they first came out, my first note was, oh, so the Hype Bros are still a thing. I guess no one thought it would happen like this or the way it did, but I'm totally on board for this.
Yeah, I guess you put the heel label on the more marketable one, in your opinion, because that's the one who automatically becomes interesting? I just thought Zack Ryder as a heel might breathe new life in him, but you know what? You go with the guy you think you have more in, and then once you establish him as a heel, you can turn him babyface again. Then maybe he'll get cheers. I don't.
It's not so much about marketability. I think it's more just the guy Mojo, from what we've seen on Talking Smack and what we saw of those promos that he did when Ryder was out. There is a thoughtfulness to the man, the actual guy playing this character. Mm-hmm. And I think he has enough going on in his head to bring something different than what we would normally see from this kind of a feud. So that's where my interest lies. Yeah, no, I agree. He's very well spoken. I mean, he has a graduate degree, University of Maryland, when they were still in the ACC. It's weird because that whole hype bro shtick is so naturally unlikable too, to many fans. I found it's such a turnoff to people, especially on the Twitterverse and stuff. So I'll be interested in a more measured take from Mojo. I think the one guy that possibly hurts is Lars Sullivan a bit, because he kind of has that thoughtful giant thing going as well. So they may, if they were looking at bringing him up, they may kind of hold off on that in some ways. I wouldn't put them in the same category as all. I can see where you're coming from in terms of that, but I don't think their approaches would be very different. No, I agree. They're two separate builds and they're two separate people, and I think I get it, but I don't think there's a problem there. After the commercial, Kayla is backstage and asks Mojo why he attacked Zack, and says Zack said the landscape had changed. Mojo with the full-on 1,000-yard stare and kind of the monotonous voice that they put over on commentary. Broken Mojo Rawley. Broken. Oh, jeez. We have enough connections between the two shows that are parallel. We don't need to. Yeah. That was my note after that. Are they aware that Raw and SmackDown are now the same show? a bit, but you know what? I thought it might. We'll get into it when we get to the women's match, I think. Bobby Roode talks to the Dashabot 2000 about, I keep calling her Dasha because it's written here as Dasha. Dasha. About Baron Corbin hitting him during the Lumberjack match. Roode, as I mentioned before, got a surprisingly good pop. I was saying he wants the U.S. championship, especially for a Kentucky crowd, and not that I think Kentucky crowds are less sophisticated. It's not necessarily a loud crowd from my memory. It's not one of those ones where you go, man, they're popping loud for guys like Bobby Roode, but maybe it's just they were happy to see him, or there's some memory there from a match before or something. So I found that interesting. Corbin's a lone wolf and the alpha male. His glorious then gets interrupted by one Baron Corbin. Roode asks for a title match. Corbin, being the good heel that he is, refuses. I like that. It's just a quick no and walks off. I do have to also bring up, though, the line from Roode, but I do know when Baron Corbin called me absent-minded last week, that was definitely not an accident. I don't think that would be from his own mouth. No. Points for the obvious babyface. Oh yeah, I don't think that was obvious. I don't think that was an accident that he called me absent-minded. I thought Bobby Roode was kind of really had some good energy here in this promo. More so than just kind of I thought he's kind of been going through the motions of late just to get to the glorious pop. But I really liked him here. I'm finding him a lot more, like, I liked him in NXT, but there's something about him on the main roster. I don't know if it's, I remember when he first debuted on the main roster, you could see how elated he was to be there. And I don't know if it's still sparkles of that shining through, but there's something so likable about him. Yeah, my thought was they might be giving him stage notes that he's coming off a little bit too heelish, so he should be a little bit more energetic to get over being an endearing babyface, as opposed to maybe a babyface who's really a heel underneath, and as he was kind of coming off in those first couple weeks. I would love it though, like with that line, the absent-minded thing, if they made that incredibly intentional and that was just his gimmick, like he is that pure-minded that he doesn't quite get it, but it's like over the top face that it's just endearing in the end.
AJ Styles versus, oh, sorry.
Oh, it's all good. All good.
AJ Styles versus the Singh brothers. Sunil and Samir introduced Jinder, who is in either on full-on hipster mode or found a suit from 1973 to wear to the ring. Mahal attacks AJ before the bell. 3-on-1 beatdown as Jinder throws AJ into the post. The drama and cliffhanger from the commercial is over as they come back from commercial, and they say all three have been beating on him throughout. Match then starts. Hipster Jinder laughs as the Singh brothers beat on AJ, who finally gets the upper hand by blocking a double superplex. AJ kicks Jinder off the apron, and Samir attempts a hurricanrana, only for AJ to then get a rather impressive Styles clash off the middle rope onto Sunil. Hipster Jinder gets mad and then hits a Colossus on Sunil and Samir post-match. That one on Samir looked like he lost hold of it, and Samir landed on his side, took a rather nasty bump, I thought. So we're on the full-on build into Clash of Champions, and it looks like Jinder's going to be cutting off the dead weight to establish himself as a one-on-one threat to AJ.
Yeah, but it doesn't work now, considering his entire championship run was those two guys dying for him repeatedly and then coming back to die for him some more. It's for me, like, I didn't see that turn coming, and for some completely inexplicable, just completely irrational reason, I felt hurt that he actually turned on his boys, because they died for him, and this is what he did. And as WWE does, reminds us that love and family and relationships are dead and mean nothing. So, I mean, shame on me for not seeing that coming.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was earned. I think that was the problem for me. It's like you see these cracks eventually over time where they fail time and time again, and then eventually it builds up to Jinder exploding on them. This one just felt like, well, we need to make Jinder look evil here, so we're going to have him just beat up his flunkies.
Or the other way that could have worked is if his frustration of AJ once again winning overtook him, but it didn't. There wasn't that explosion. It was just the same smelling a fart, angry Jinder, and it just didn't really come from anywhere. That Styles clash, though, from the middle rope, Singh brother onto Singh brother, was freaking incredible. And
I loved that. I thought that was really clever.
It was so good. Why, once again, why wasn't Jinder ejected from ringside after that beatdown before the bell? Once again.
Yeah.
And he was still getting "You Suck" chants, which is unfortunate.
And the USA chants, because jingoism is always a fun way to build a heel. The Dashabot 2000 then interviews Ruby, Liv, and Sarah. Ruby introduces them as the Riott Squad. Riott now spelled with 2 T's, perhaps to protect trademark, I think. I think Ruby Riott here cut a pretty good heel promo. She feels like a natural leader to me. And I'd put her now on the list of performers who can infuse their own natural charisma and rise up above the level of the terrible dialogue they get. I thought she really came off well on this. The other two, probably works in progress, much like the other threesome on Raw. Do you agree, disagree?
Yes. Ruby, you can still sense some kind of nerves and uncertainty, and I think give her 6 months maybe, and she'll be good. Liv Morgan managed a squeal, a decibel I've not processed before. That was impressive. And Logan, needs work on the promo side. But the good thing is, to me, these women came across as Powerpuff Girls-esque as opposed to just another Absolution. So that's some kind of a difference. And I actually like where Liv Morgan is going with the character, because it is something different. It's just a case of really getting into those characters now and not letting the nerves get to them.
Yeah, Liv's going to be fine because she's perky and blonde, so that they can find things for her. My fear on...
you can't just pass it off as like, oh, she's perky and blonde. She'll be absolutely fine. Like, she needs to have some kind of...
I don't mean that from...
She needs to do it well.
I don't mean that from my perspective. I mean that from the company's perspective, because that's what they like in their divas, so to speak. They're women's performers. I don't mean that as I think she'll be fine because she fits these certain stereotypes. This is kind of what they cast for. It's the same reason I think Mandy's going to be okay on the Raw roster, even if her promos aren't very good right now. I think the person that needs the most help and was Sonya last night. I thought Sonya came off pretty darn good in terms of personality last night, even though, and especially with the punches and stuff. But for me, my concern on this side of the roster is they don't like Southern accents, and Sarah Logan is full on Kentucky huntress character. If she doesn't get the chance to talk, she's only going to be able to do what she can do in the ring. And I think she's okay in the ring, but my fear is they're going to hear that accent and they're not going to let her do more promos within this group. That's my concern with Sarah Logan right now. I hope that's not true, but they have their idiosyncrasies, and you just have to fight against your own cynicism about them. The New Day is schlepping WWE shop. Big E does his Sasha impression, which is always great. 50% off shirts, and there's a sweet War Games one that I need to buy. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it's pretty darn cool. And so that leads us into the 6-woman match, Natty, Charlotte, and Naomi versus the Riott Squad, 2 Ts. They show still photos of Starrcade. If we have time, we may go into that a little bit. Naomi comes out in her Technicolor dream coat, which I thought looked fantastic as a visual. The Riott Squad seems to me to have babyface music, which kind of adds to the disconnect a little bit. I don't know. What did you think of their music tonight and their presentation? Are you there? Did I lose her? Oh, I lost her. Oh, no. Well, I thought that it was I thought it came off as babyface a little bit. Ruby and Natty start. Ruby and Sarah Logan doing most of the work here. Sarah Logan gets a nice clothesline. Bit of miscommunication on their part. I think that possibly came a little bit from the fact that Sarah Logan is left-handed, because it appeared that she clotheslined her with her left arm, and there was a little bit of a discussion there before Natty eventually bails, leaving Charlotte and Naomi to fend for themselves. Liv gets a tag and eats some chops for her troubles, and it looks like we're getting Anna back. Anna, are you there?
I'm so sorry about that. I do not know what happened.
You know what? I was talking,
and then I couldn't get back in.
I was talking, and I had my notes in front of me, and then I threw it to you, and I had to move my notes. I was like, "Oh, Anna's not here. I need to continue talking."
I'm so sorry.
No, where did I cut off?
Perky and blonde is the last thing I was here for.
Okay, well then, basically the Cliff Notes version is that I think Sarah Logan, her problem is going to be her Southern accent, and I'm afraid they may not let her talk more to help protect her character. Whereas I thought Sonya is kind of in that same position on the Raw side, and I think she came off well for herself in terms of personality.
An accent is it's a given character device. Like, it's something there for them that they have naturally. We can use it.
Yeah, it's just Vince McMahon in the past has not liked Southern accents. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because he hates that wrestling stuff, but it's there. To the question I had after I did the whole New Day WWE shop plug. But I thought the Riott Squad, their presentation's kind of weird because they have babyface music. It sounds like to me.
Yeah. I've heard that there has been a couple of months of planning that went into this, but what's coming across on our screens, I think the double up of the two groups, and then the music as well is just Ruby's music from NXT. Mm-hmm. It doesn't quite come across like that. I'm still very curious as to where exactly they're going with this, if the two groups are connected, or if after the first episode that they both debuted, they turned to each other and went, oh,
I was hoping they'd be connected. I was hoping there'd be that connective tissue, and maybe Paige shows up on SmackDown to see how these women are doing, but I think they're going to keep them separate. I do. I think that's a missed opportunity.
What are they doing? It's identical groups on either brand. Identical storylines, again, on either brand.
They're bringing up multiple people to see who can survive. I think that, and I think that's part of the laziness of this whole thing. But they could always connect them in the next couple weeks. I would be fine with it. I think it'd be kind of genius if this is an overarching Paige plan to get back at everybody. I think that'd be awesome in so many ways.
That would be incredible. I think either way, it's up to each of those women to make sure that they differentiate themselves from every single other person on that roster. And given how new they are still to all of this, like I said last week, some have been on the indies for a while. Some have been in NXT for a while, just haven't been on TV recently. It doesn't really matter. Now they're here. Now they have a lot more eyes in front, like on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in a division that isn't well written. They have to take ownership of this. And they kind of have a good spot to do it because they are so new and they have been brought in as a 3. I just really hope they can overcome those nerves and do something with this.
Yeah, the nerves kind of came out in this match a little bit. Ruby and Sarah Logan do most of the work here inside the ring. You can tell that Liv's still a little bit green there. I thought Logan got a nice clothesline to start with on Natty, but appeared there was a little bit of miscommunication. I attributed that to possibly because Sarah Logan uses her left arm to clothesline, and she might be left-handed. And that's always weird to get used to working with people like that because I'm naturally left-handed, and the little bit of training I had, they wanted me to work against that natural tendency and use my right arm and to work like I'm right-handed. So that may be an issue in future weeks to keep an eye on. Natty bails on her team. So much for the unity. Liv gets tag, eats some chops. Second window special as Anna is once again shut out from watching Naomi get a tag and Liv get double chopped and kicked and worked over until they come back. Eventually, Riott comes back in to face Charlotte. I like that they matched these two up together. I didn't think it came off as rough as Sean Ross Sapp did. Liv and Morgan go to attack Naomi. Naomi nails Liv with a kick off the apron, and then the two of them, and then Morgan and Naomi have a nice brawl before they just run her into the stairs and then do a pretty vicious looking slingshot spot on the outside to take Naomi out for the rest of the match as Ruby forces Charlotte to watch. Charlotte mounts a nice little comeback, but the numbers game eventually takes over. Ruby Riott gets a Shining Wizard for the pin clean over the women's champion on SmackDown. I thought that's very impressive and a very good start for the three of them. And Ruby and Morgan appear to be doing most of the work in the ring to hide Liv's some of greenness. It was obvious all three had a little bit of nerves here, probably just due to not having worked with any of them before. Your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was just there's a lack of psychology here. For me, it's just not believable that these three women who look like little girls stepping into a ring next to Charlotte had a chance against Charlotte, even 3 against 1. To me, the way that they built Charlotte, that's not believable. Huh. And the way that the women worked in ring tonight was not believable that they could get over her. If they stepped in and had this completely chaotic, reckless attitude that was just savage, they knew that they can speak big, and now their actions have to match that, so they have to go all out and just wreck the place, then that would be believable, and that would be, okay, these girls are actually trouble. But this, for me, just seemed like it was too staged, and that part, I don't know what was going on in the ring when Riott had Charlotte strung up during that spot by ringside with Naomi, but they seem to be just in that position in the ring, that entire spot by ringside. And that for me is just like, well,
I think they were playing that up as the story was that Ruby was forcing Charlotte to watch the two friends beat up Naomi. I think that, and it was like the psychological part of it.
That's not believable to me. And from what we actually saw, the glimpses that we saw back in the ring, they were just both kind of sitting there watching. It wasn't any struggle. It wasn't like her holding her head down and watching. It was just, it was a bit too paint by numbers when it should have really been paint all outside the lines and just chaos.
Yeah, I was appreciative of the fact that they didn't do the exact same thing they did last night or on Monday night with the three, where they end up jumping two of the partners. I somewhat agree with you. I think this is probably, though, it seemed to me a strong debut for them. I don't know how it'll appear to the Twitterverse out there and what they thought of it. I agree with you, but that's just little things that can be cleaned up and just not get, it might have just been timing of the camera angles as well. I see what you're saying, but they weren't going to have them be, they were going to get their licks in, but at the same time they had to keep Charlotte strong. So I guess, yeah,
but they went over her anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, for me, it's a whole thing of, this is their debut. And for a lot of people, they don't know who these women are. They don't watch NXT. And you're already in, the women's division already has a lot of scrutiny around it. Because I was having a conversation with someone the other day who said, I just don't have that much interest in it. And I said to him, yeah, but is it because of the in-ring work, or is it because of how they're written? So, oh yeah, because of how they're written. There's just nothing interesting there. Yeah. Exactly. So you have that to combat as well as everything else. So you really need to make an impression.
Yeah, and the problem here is they're really repeating what they did with the Women's Revolution in terms of the faction feuding. I really think one-on-one feuds builds characters better than these things, unless you have this stable and it's not just disparate parts, but they have a reason to be together. That's the other thing about both these groups is like these three on both sides have such wild, varied looks and seemingly wild, varied gimmicks that other than we're here to make an impact or we're here to make a first impression or whatever, seems to be their only driving force together. It's very lazy writing is what it is.
Yep. And that's been the problem this entire way through.
Kayla's back trying to interview Randy, who in the span of 2 weeks has shaved his beard and grown out his hair, looking kind of like a mini Cena now, looking like he's ready for that big babyface push. Randy just ignores her, as he is wont to do. Fashion Files, Saw parody. I'm not personally a fan of the Saw movies just because I don't like torture porn, but I thought this was pretty good overall. They are told by a mysterious man on video acting as Jigsaw that they have a minute to destroy the thing they love most or be poisoned. We get Tully, the return of Tully the horse in the center, the key hidden in, named, of course, after my favorite wrestler, Tully Blanchard. The line of the night, beat this dead horse so we can get out of here. The Ascension wants them to save themselves versus the Friendship. Breezango reminds them that they're not really friends. Nice touch. And the Ascension then get poison gassed when Fandango chooses to save his hat versus letting the two of them go. Anna, notes and attributions that I may have missed in this entire scene.
I haven't seen a Saw movie because I think it's just I won't get into that. I don't like them. I don't like those kind of movies. But I thought that was an excellent start. One of my favorite movies of all time is Robin Hood Men in Tights. So I do know about the whole ankle saw thing because of Carrie Owens. So that was a really nice beginning. There was a line, "You've been making a mockery of the tag team division," which was said by Jigsaw. And at that point I was like, wow, there are so many old timers that could be behind this. It's unbelievable. And then, guys, run, save yourselves. We're trying. We're not friends. That kind of thing was awesome.
Do you think they
as much as I love? Sorry.
Do you think they pay off the Jigsaw gag, or is it just a gag?
They still haven't paid off the other stuff. Like, we assume that it's the Bludgeon brothers, but nothing's actually been said yet.
Yeah, I just get the feel this is going to be Arn Anderson again. If they pay it off. I don't know. There's part of me that thinks is maybe the last we see of the Ascension, because they seem to be end of the year cleaning house a little bit. I hope it's not, and I don't necessarily think it is, but that'd be a way to kill them off on TV. I wouldn't be surprised if both the Singh brothers and the Ascension, that might be their last TV appearances for a while. Did I lose you again? I think I lost you again. Anywho, we've lost Anna again, so I will continue on. Their main event for the evening, Kevin Owens versus, here comes Anna back again. Hi, Anna.
Hi. It really sucks. Really sucks.
Don't sweat. Sorry. All I said is I basically thought that maybe with the end of the year, they may be cleaning house a bit, and maybe the Singh brothers, and this might be a way to write off the Ascension too. I hope not. I don't think necessarily, because I think they're comedy gold. I especially love the Connor and Victor. We're best friends.
It's gotten to the point where I've seen people online going, okay, cool, this is getting old now. There's still life in these fashion file segments, but I really do think they need to start bringing them back in ring to be able to fuel that, because right now it's just kind of working by itself as this random thing that happens every second week. And if they actually bring them back to in ring, that's also helping write that part of the show. And it's also like, these guys are good. They deserve more.
Main event of the evening, KO versus Randy Orton in a no DQ match where Sammy is banned from ringside. I came into this a bit late because I had a power spike at home, which reset my DirecTV. So I got to it when Randy Orton was hitting him with stairs and then kendo sticks, which obviously hurt because they bleeped out Kevin Owens a couple times. Thank God for the 7-second delay. Backdrop into the barricade. KO gets a kendo stick of his own, and then returns the favor. Senton for 2, DDT for 2. Orton gets a superplex that to me was rather impressive because it looked like it started off really, really rough there, and then eventually he got to it. Crowd chants for tables because they're bloodthirsty monsters. Your usual kind of no DQ match where they're just beating the crap out of each other until the point where KO bails and takes off into the crowd. Orton gives chase and they brawl onto the stage, where Sammy then attacks Orton's leg with a chair on the ramp. Since it's not ringside and since it's no DQ, it's legal, kids. That's how they get around that. Zayn then flees in possibly the most humorous way possible. Both men end up rolling to the ring. Orton gets his vintage DDT. Owens blocks the RKO, hits Orton's bad leg, super kick, and gets the frog splash for the pin. I rather enjoyed this match for what it was. For the love of God, let's stop doing backdrops onto that announce table unless they're going to break. That is always the spot that gets me. But, we knew somehow Sammy was going to get involved with this. It's always one of those, we're going to ban that one specific person from getting involved. He always gets involved. It's like throwing somebody out of the arena for the night. They're going to show up again. But for a TV main event, no DQ, I thought this was rather solid.
Yeah, it was a great match. Orton looked like gold. For me, it was once again, though, of like, what exactly is the payoff here? It's been the theme of the night. I'm so confused as to how they perceive these guys backstage.
Yeah, I think it's possible that you're, and I do this too all the time. I think we all do as kind of critics of wrestling. We're trying to read into their motivations for doing things, and that sometimes seeps into how we watch what they put on screen.
Normally, it's not as big an issue, but because it was such a blatant, brutal beating on KO for the majority of this match, like Orton genuinely looked happy with that kendo stick, and he was beating the hell out of him.
And then KO returned the favor too. He just absolutely.
But it was about 1/3 of it KO getting back, and 2/3 is just Randy beating the crap out of him. And it's those kind of power imbalances that make me go, okay, what's the end game here? What statement are they making with this?
I don't know if they're making a statement. I think they're just stretching for time. I think as Raw showed and SmackDown showed, we're in that period right before the holidays where they don't want to do anything too much. They don't want to hurt anybody, but they don't want to give away a lot of stories because Royal Rumble season, the build to that is so important that they're just trying to stall for time, as you saw on Raw with the long extended. We got a 15-minute Elias Sampson match on Raw. So I just think
I ain't got a problem with that.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. I just think I think we're going to get a few more of these. I think we're going to be getting long extended matches with some talking segments, a lot of video recaps until we get past the holidays, and then they're going to turn on the burner again for Rumble season.
But I don't understand with this time. Rumble's a little while away, but it's not like they're taking a break in between. These guys are working on Christmas, for crying out loud.
True.
So why not have mini feuds along the way, and then they can put those on the back burner until Rumble's finished, and then they can actually, use this as testing ground to see what they could possibly do next.
This might be the mini feud that you're talking about, though. This KO Randy Orton thing might be the mini feud in question. There's
okay, then I guess it's a case of just it's too early to tell. It was just it got to the point with the second DDT from Orton where the ref was standing there shaking his head at how brutal this was.
Yeah, I thought the referees tonight did a great job. I mean, Charles Robinson, always one of my favorite referees. So that's it for SmackDown. As usual, go over to Fightful.com over in the forums there. Talk to Sean. I'm on there occasionally. Complaints can go to @SeanRossSapp on Twitter. Compliments can go to @CrapGame13 and @Anna Bauert. We'll go over a couple of stories in the news. Starrcade happened on Saturday. Kind of a tribute show. Kind of just a thing for the Greensboro locals. Starrcade, kind of important for my historical upbringing because I'm from that region, and it was a big thing in Jim Crockett where they blow off all the major feuds with stipulation matches and lots of blood. From what I saw, really good tribute, I thought. I liked the Arn Anderson spot. I got to see some video of that with Dolph Ziggler and Arn giving him a spine buster. The Ricky Steamboat Shinsuke Nakamura thing seemed to come off real well. I heard the main event had some problems with Natty and Charlotte in the cage, but that just might be, due to the chemistry of women not working cage matches all that often. I thought they gave some good tributes to the legends there, and Matt Hardy got a pretty good segment with Maxwell. I like that. I know that there was a lot of outcry that this wasn't on the network and people wanted to see all this. With the graphics, and they did kind of the throwback graphics as well. But I kind of like, I wanted to see it as well, but I kind of like that they made it special just for them.
Well, someone tweeted a picture. There were cameras in the crowd. So they were filming it for something. Maybe we'll get it eventually.
Yeah, that's true too. And it's, it's just really a spruced up house show. Yeah. Nothing of any real importance happened. I think it was just the nostalgia fans like myself who, remember Starrcade when it was really, really good, kind of wanted to see what they did with it. And I heard it was mostly respectful. I especially liked, I don't know if you saw this, the video of Goldust's intro into Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
That was
I
just
love
fantastic.
That they did that.
That was fantastic, and I love that they brought back that hokey WCW music. It's not often that they allow those types of things in there because, of course, WWE won the war, but that was nice. The other major thing going around on at least on Twitter, Nia Jax kind of implying that she's been body shamed backstage, which You know, I'm hoping it's not true. I'm hoping that it's just kind of perception.
The article was changed from, the headline was changed from backstage to, they made it more general to make it sound like it, because it wasn't necessarily at WWE. It was probably implied that it was, but because I don't think it explicitly said that.
She said actually in the tweet that I read that it was back where she changed. So it was in the locker room. According to, if you take it literally. The person who wrote the article then backtracked and said it doesn't necessarily mean that locker room, but I mean, she has done modeling stuff, so, but at the same time, it's like where she spends the most amount of time. You'd hope that's not the case. Seriously hope it's not, but who knows? Yeah, I have a high opinion of a lot of the women on this roster because women's wrestling really kind of kept me interested in the WWE.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the women though.
Yeah, and like, that's what I kind of said, but in the tweet it seems almost expressly, it was another woman in the locker room. So that's why it's kind of focused on them so much. I got everybody's like, you should read the tweet. It says so. I'm like, well, how do we know that it wasn't, you work on these big production type things. Yeah, production assistants might be running in and out accidentally where they're not supposed to, seamstresses, staff, other things, and might have been a purposeful slight, might have just been an accidental thing said that was taken the wrong way.
It might have been for total divas.
Yeah, it might have been a work completely for the reality show. So, you take these things with a grain of salt whenever you hear them. And then you just hope they're not true. Because I mean, I like Nia Jax a lot, so I'm hoping that man, I forgot about Total Divas until you brought it up. I'm hoping that was what it, that would be an interesting twist to the story.
It's just such a sorry, but who cares what? As long as someone is healthy and not in any kind of danger. What is it to anyone else?
Yeah. Yeah, I just mind your own. I mean, you're independent contractors for the most part. I know that you're all one big happy family, but it's like, you don't need jealousy and you don't need to put other people down to get ahead. I mean, because all of you are at the whims of Vince McMahon. Anna, throw in your plugs.
Well, we had EPW's Reawakening 16 last Saturday night, which was a packed house, and I am so proud of every single person that worked on that show. It was up there with the best live wrestling I've ever seen, and that's just not me being biased, it's a fact. And for those of you like Spencer on Twitter who asked, it will be going available on Vimeo, EPW Perth's Vimeo, this Friday. So you can either follow them at EPW Perth on Twitter or follow me, and I will then share the details. It's definitely something to watch. That roster is, I think it was Voices of Wrestling put out 2 articles of top Australian performers to watch. About 4 of them are on our roster. So, yeah, that says something.
Speaking of the boys at Voices of Wrestling, you can follow my other show at Shake Them Ropes, all one word. Rob McCarran, who I almost got to come in to host this thing because I was just terrible tonight.
You did a good job, man.
Thank you. I try. We'll be talking all things WWE.
Probably pay our money yet.
Yeah. We'll be talking about whatever comes up in the next day or so. I think we're waiting until after NXT, see what happens with Kairi Sane and Peyton Royce. I'm going to an all-women show, well, mostly women's show on Friday night that I'm looking very forward to at Rise Wrestling here in Los Angeles. Get to see Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez and Chris Wolf and Medusa and Bull Nakano are going to be there. So I think that's going to be a fun time. So if you're coming out to LA, hit me up on Twitter and let me know you'll be there. I'll be front row yelling bad jokes. You can follow me at Crap Game 13. You can follow the usual host at Sean Ross Sapp. Please follow at Fightful Wrestle, at Fightful Pods. Go to Fightful.com. Sign up for all the forums. Until next time, kids. And hopefully there won't be a next time where I have to carry this show by narrating and I can just sit back and counterpunch. Because Anna was fantastic. I was adequate. We're out.